Hi, I'm Charles with AniCap. The story begins as the city is being terrorized by several horrific demons in the year 2093. The origins of these beasts are unknown, and humans are helpless as they continue their unimaginable destruction. Crime has gotten out of control over recent years, and the government is completely powerless now. In this moment, humanity's lowest point, the first ever superhero in human history named Zero appeared. Zero instantly demonstrated his overwhelming power by easily defeating several demons. He would go on to destroy countless enemies, catch many supervillains one by one, and even behead the king of monsters. With his lead, superheroes around the world would begin to pop up. In the year 2100, crime rates in several countries would begin to decline, and the number of monsters were severely reduced. However, this was also the time when humanity's first hero would disappear. 5 years later, we see that a movie is being made about Zero, and our protagonist named Lin laments how this will be the 5th movie based on the hero. His thoughts are interrupted when several fans at a nearby concert cheer for a superhero named Shinshen as he performs. As Lin approaches, a level C fugitive criminal in the crowd attempts to assassinate Shinshen and explains that he is the famous Black Hand criminal. He wants revenge for what the Shinshen family did to him, but his efforts are halted when Shinshen takes away the weapons from Black Hand and his men. They continue their attack, but Shinshen's band easily takes care of them. Shinshen taunts the man a bit, but eventually ends the fight with a punch that is too fast to see. Black Hand isn't ready to give up, but Lin appears to restrain the man using handcuffs only senior cops have. Just then, Black Hand thinks back to how he had been paid by Shinshen to do the attack, so that it could help boost his status. Black Hand was promised the rest of the money after the job was done, but now thinks that Shinshen is trying to get out of the deal. His rage allows him to transform as he explains that he plans to demonstrate the true power of a B-level villain. Black Hand takes out Shinshen and his band as they are far weaker than him now, but a Class E hero named Chen arrives to stop him. Chen explains his plan to boost his reputation by defeating Black Hand, but is mocked by him for being a level E. He tries to use gloves that he claims could take down an elephant, but only embarrasses himself. Lin shows a bit of concern, but Chen is confident he can win, so he continues fighting. Attempts at using other gadgets only manage to get him beat up faster, but Black Hand has grown tired of him. Chen says that this battle is for monsters like him and Black Hand, and tells the feeble human that is Lin to escape while he still can. Lin points out that Chen is going to die here, but is surprised when Chen says that he is simply trying to protect civilians. Lin then jumps into action and astonishes Chen when he defeats Black Hand with a single attack. Chen begs that Lin team up with him, explaining that his super smart brain and super strong gear will go perfectly with Lin's super strength. Lin has doubts, but Chen says that he just didn't bring all his equipment. Just then, their conversation is interrupted when a woman arrives to assess the situation. Chen instantly recognizes her as the 3rd ranked superhero in the entire city named Manu. He explains to her that he just so happened to come by an attack on the Shinshen family, and he and his assistant named Lin stopped it. However, he is surprised to see that Lin is long gone. Elsewhere, Lin arrives home to find that his sister has kicked out a man that Lin would consider a good husband for her. She reveals that humanity's first hero is the only man for her, and Lin hopes that she never finds out that he is actually Zero. His sister then becomes upset when he explains that he still hasn't managed to find a job, and she points out how he never does any chores. She screams at him for having a messy room, but their fight is interrupted by Chen, who is there to invite Lin to become a hero. Chen also plans to allow Lin to be his assistant and explains the financial benefits. Lin's sister is instantly on board, but Lin points out how he is just an ordinary guy that doesn't fight. It has already been decided for him though, and the two head to register him the very next day. There, they see a statue, and Chen must explain that the people besides Zero are double class S heroes that accompanied him, but Lin doesn't remember them at all. Chen then explains that the government instituted ranks ranging from the lowest E to the highest SS rank. There isn't time to explain more though, as it is time to take the exams that will determine if Lin can become a hero. They are then escorted into a room where a very large man named Yatan lifts very heavy weights, and he explains that Lin simply needs to not die for 3 minutes to pass the exam. Everyone is shocked, however, when Lin asks about what he will get for defeating him instead. Chen is concerned about his assistant's overconfidence as Yatan shows his special ability. Lin isn't concerned at all as Yatan begins his attack and shows how easily he can stop him. The woman evaluating is stunned as she has never seen anyone stop Yatan's attack like this, and the two fighters express admiration for each other. Yatan can instantly tell that Lin is the strongest opponent he has ever encountered, and explains how most people only want to enroll as heroes for the fame. Yatan still needs Lin to prove himself and begins his barrage of attacks. Lin does well to fend them off and fights Yatan equally. This only infuriates the examiner, but Lin stops him in his tracks and surprisingly ends it with one final blow. Lin wonders how he did as the shocked evaluator explains that he received full points, and directs him to the written exam room next. Chen expresses his relief to have such a good assistant, but is ignored when a terrified Lin states that it's all over after hearing about the written exam. The story then skips to after the written exam has already finished, and Yatan waking up to a memory of being defeated by a fearsome newcomer. He is shocked about being defeated, but now can't even remember the details of the fight. Manu explains that the newcomer's strength is at least a level A, but then shows Yatan Lin's unfortunate written exam results. He realizes that it turns out that Lin is actually stupid. What's worse is that Lin answered a question about why he wants to be a hero with a statement about how he doesn't want to be one, and doesn't even understand what it means to be a hero. Nearby, the results of the written exam are displayed, and Chen is amazed at how Lin was able to get full points on the battle exam, but only 13 points on the written one. Lin is frustrated, but Chen points out that this is exactly why heroes need to work together. No matter how strong a person is, there are limits, but a group of people can accomplish almost anything. Lin points out that the weak just hold back the strong, and having to rely on others means you are not a hero. Their conversation is interrupted when a man nearby is being bullied for defending civilians. We see that the bullies are actually heroes that are upset that they aren't able to boost their rank because the man had scared away some villains. Lin watches in disgust as no one else cares, and we see that the man has finally decided to stick up for himself by proclaiming that the bullies aren't actual heroes. They toss him aside for being a Zero fan, but Lin catches him and Chen attacks the bullies for insulting his idol Zero. Lin breaks up the fight, but the bullies then turn their attention to him. They are then stopped by the well-known Shisan, who is also upset that they insulted Zero. They run off in fear of him, and the bullied man introduces himself as Yan King. Shisan explains that he is only an E-rank hero, but people still fear him very much, and he is glad to meet people that are able to speak to him normally. He reveals that he doesn't have any friends, and Cheng laughs at him for treating a 2D character as one. Lin is speechless, but we see that it's because he is excited to see that Shisan plays the same game he does. Lin wants him to join the team, and he gladly accepts as he has never been asked because he is an E-ranked hero. This is a bit odd, seeing as how he just terrified the group of bullies, so they ask what his ability is. Shisan baffles everyone though when he states that his ability is called Jinxed, and it makes everyone around him unlucky. They are in disbelief, so he explains that he is well known for the ability, and was even given the nickname Unlucky Ghost because of it. When he was a child, the orphanage he was kept in caught fire, and the next one was overrun by landslides within a couple days. He ended up living on the streets as this continued to happen, but says that one good thing did happen to him, and explains that he was once saved by Zero. This encounter is what made him want to be a hero. His excitement gets the best of him though, and he accidentally causes the building to collapse. He is down on himself yet again, but is amazed when Lin saves a girl and instructs him to start moving to help others. Afterwards, they are all at the hospital as Yanqing had been caught under rubble, but Lin explains that he will be okay. Yanqing is upset at how casually he is mentioned since the doctor told him he was lucky to be alive. Lin states that he shouldn't speak to his teammates that way, but Yanqing doesn't want anything to do with them. Lin explains though that he was responsible for everything since the entire interaction started with him, and forces Yanqing to join the team. Chen expresses some concern about the bad luck, but Shisan promises to maintain a distance and everyone agrees to form a team. Sometime later, the team stakes out the top of a building as they wait for an illegal trade to go down after receiving an anonymous tip. The criminal organization they are watching has several mercenaries and a dozen level C criminals. As they wait, Chen bosses Yanqing around, telling him to bring food after he is done packing his equipment. Just then, the parties they were waiting for arrive and Yanqing springs into action as he calls himself the carrier of goods. Chen is a bit too anxious to start the mission and gives a good laugh to his teammates. The two criminal organizations watch as the item being traded is tested, and one of the leaders is glad to see that it's exactly what he wanted. Our team intervenes though, and each of them introduces themselves. Cheng falls nearby and is introduced as the God of War. Their attempt at an arrest fails though, and we get a glimpse of Yang King's strange but interesting teleportation ability as he takes the criminals' weapons. The criminals use their creature to attack, but Shisan has massive firepower and spicy bacon at his disposal. The monster proves to be too much though, and Lin is warned to run away, but he doesn't. Lin explains that the creature is just an ordinary monster and makes it disappear. Chen points out that all he really did was send it downtown, and we see that the monster is terrorizing the city. Lin appears to stop it immediately though, and Chen must ask that Lin not go so fast since he can't keep up, as he is saving the battery on his jet boots for battle. Chen warns that Lin's fighting style is too dangerous for downtown, and shows him a water purifier that should be used to defeat the monster instead. The technology god springs into action but doesn't seem to accomplish much. A closer look though reveals that his purifying idea might actually work. Chen does show some potential as he manages to get his device back, and Lin shows confidence in him by putting his weapon away, just as Chen finishes the fight. The rest of the team arrives to be covered in purified water, and wake up moments later to a very satisfied crowd. They are all ecstatic at how clean their clothes and skin are now thanks to the purified water, and Lin makes sure to give all the credit to Chen. Their search for him ends when they see that he was protecting a girl from all the water. Afterwards, we see that the team thinks they're in trouble for hurting the girl, and Lin asks her name, but she doesn't respond. Much to the delight of the group, a ring at the door reveals that Manu has come to visit them. She comes inside only to entertain the little girl, but Lin asks that she state her business. The others ask that he be kinder to her, but she answers anyway, and reveals that she is there on orders from a Mr. Lin Ji. Lin wants more answers, so Manu gives them a device with all the information. Manu then explains that many charities have been created around the world to help neglected children, but Lin points out how they are just being experimented on. Manu confirms this and explains that the little girl they found is one of those experiments. Furthermore, only bad things await for those children that are deemed failed experiments. Just then, everyone in the room grows fearful as it begins to shake, and they see that Lin has become enraged. He can't understand how this could be happening under the watch of all the heroes in the world, and wants the people responsible for the child experimentations all killed. Lin's anger nearly kills those in the room, but he regains composure and apologizes for not being able to control his emotions. Chen points out that Manu is a top hero, and there must be a good reason keeping her from doing something about the situation. He is correct as she reveals the findings of an investigation she had done. The reason she isn't able to do anything is because the enemies have an ally in the Heroes Association. What's worse is that this person is none other than Ouyang Rui, the president of the Heroes Association. Thanks for watching part 1, 3,000 likes and I'll make a part 2.